Well, welcome back to TV5 News at 9. We are back with a special edition of Ask the Sheriff this morning. We are highlighting a local 30-year-old cold case still unsolved to this day. Now, that cold case surrounds Greg McRoberts, who was killed in a hit-and-run incident in Midland County back in 1991. He was reported missing until his body and bike were found on January 4th of 1992. About 31 years since it happened, no suspect has been identified, and life for the McRoberts has never been the same.
It's one of those things, you know, you don't expect to lose a child. Parents are supposed to pass away before a child. And, you know, he had everything going for him.
So we are talking a little bit more about this case with Midland County Sheriff Myron Green, who joins us this morning. And Sheriff, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Sheriff Green, you've worked closely, obviously, with the McRoberts family. So why bring this case back into the spotlight? It's been 31, 32 years.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. Today marks the 31st anniversary of when Greg's body was found.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, a lot of people were affected by this incident. And we wanted to give another opportunity for the person involved to come forward and just do the right thing.
Very good. And just going through this case a little bit, the evidence part, the belief is the person responsible was driving a 1982 to 87 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme or Brougham. The family was also sent a letter in 2005. It was typed out, so this person responsible claiming responsibility for this hit and run. Can you just run us through this letter, what it kind of said, what came from it, if anything?
Right, so as you mentioned, you know, the case went cold for quite a while.
Okay.
And in 2005, the family was sent this anonymous letter, and the person admitted to striking Greg. They explained what their life had been since the incident and expressed remorse, but ultimately still did not come forward. The letter advised the family that if they wanted to respond to this letter, that they could put ads in the personal section of the Midland Daily News, which they did on several occasions, but didn't get any response. Over the years, this incident has been put in the media several times, with a couple new tips coming forward, but nothing that has brought closure to the case.
Yeah, and I know you have said you went through the same types of tips throughout the years, which is why there has been no progress. Why do you feel it's so important to bring this case back to the spotlight, to bring that closure for this family?
Right. I think it's important for several reasons. Obviously, the number one reason is that the family deserves closure. They've gone through a lot over the past 30 plus years without Greg in their life. Greg's father has passed away since then. Greg's mother, Greg's adult children. Yeah. They deserve to have their questions answered and offer their forgiveness to this person and finally have closure. You know, in the letter, the driver talks about not being able to free themselves from the guilt and shame that they've carried with them over these decades, and not being able to live free from the heavy burden that they've too carried over the past 31 years. Yeah. And then finally, the sheriff's office will have our own answers and then be able to close out our case as well.
Any message to Mid-Michigan, if they're watching right now, that you would like to share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, 32 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Memories fade. People's memories lose things that may have happened 30 years ago.
Right.
People have moved. So we're just asking anybody that has any direct knowledge of this incident, or if the person involved confessed to them, to please come forward and just help us help the McRoberts family. And then lastly, I would encourage everyone to look up the previous articles that are online, read the letter, and if any person that they know of fits that profile and had those life experiences, again, please reach out to us and let us know.
And I just want to mention real quick, just to give our viewers an idea of the impact this has had. Greg's oldest daughter was 15 months old at the time when he passed. His son wasn't even born yet. So
correct.
It's very heavy on them still to this day. So if someone's out there right now has an idea, has a tip, any information, how can they reach out?
Sure. The first thing that we would offer up to people is to contact our tip line.
Okay.
It's 989-839 4609.
Right.
So they can call that number and then leave a message, and then someone will get in contact with them. For obviously the driver involved, We would like to set up a meeting with them, and then ultimately for him or her to meet with the family. But they can contact myself in my office at 989-839-4627 or at the email listed. And then the lead detective, Detective Brent Benzing, 839-4621, and then again at the email listed.
Very good. I know one other point that I think we have discussed while working on this story together was we're not looking for a full prosecution. They just want closure. Do you want to reiterate that message?
Sure. You know, we don't know the full facts and circumstances of the incident because the only person that does is the person that was driving.
Yeah.
And so this isn't about prosecution. There may have been the statute of limitations that have passed. It is more about getting closure for the family so that they can move on from this.
All right. Sheriff Green, thank you for your time this morning.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yes, of course. And we actually have a full report on this 30-plus-year-old cold case, which airs tonight right here on TV5 at 11 p.m. But in the meantime, if you have any type of questions for the sheriff that you would like to ask, you can send it to WNEM at WNEM.com. Send it to our social media. Stick around.